that we need in this rapidly changing world existing organizations that will adapt and make room. We need organizations that will step up and improve buy-in to address the challenges such as the financial crisis, such as food safety challenges. I don't know if anybody's tracked the issue of milk coming from China with melamine. These are issues that ASEAN is struggling with handling. And the question before us today is really about whether ASEAN has the confidence and vision to move forward. And that question has been answered by ASEAN's leaders. They do have the vision and the confidence to move forward, and that is why the Charter has been drawn up. It's not too little, and it's not too late. Both Timothy and Simon, in their arguments, talked about the diversity in the region. Political diversity, some free, some not, too different. Simon mentioned the violence on the Thai-Cambodia border. Both emphasized the economic diversity. The diversity is too great. We don't trade enough within ourselves, with ourselves. We don't invest enough with ourselves. But let me argue this. Why would you need a charter? Why would you need a vision if you could buy the quality of gado-gado that you could buy in Yogyakarta in Kuala Belai? You need a vision for economic integration in ASEAN. Simon mentioned the rise of India and China, and that with the rise of these two great nations, the profile of ASEAN is diminishing. I really get sad when I hear this, because as a guy who worked on Southeast Asia for over 25 years now, I really believe in ASEAN, and I believe that my colleagues on the other side of the table today believe in it too. ASEAN is important. It is a very important fulcrum on which trade and security matters balance. ASEAN is a meeting place for great nations to meet and debate and compete. And maybe, based on our conversation this morning, maybe it's a place where they'll meet to cooperate and coordinate and to address some of the issues that we're facing in this rapidly changing world. We need to look at the Charter and ask ourselves, is it enough? And I have to admit, I had been watching this process very closely, but I carefully read the Charter a couple times to try to get ready for the debate today. And I have to say, there's some real meat in there that I think is very significant. The Charter asks for ASEAN to build resources. I don't know if you all know that once the Charter is signed, that ASEAN will send ambassadors to live in Jakarta, and they will be resident in Jakarta. They'll be there to increase their national engagement at the Secretariat itself. Not only that, but dialogue partners are invited to send their ambassadors to Jakarta. This may seem insignificant. In fact, the Americans decided to nominate an ASEAN ambassador or an ambassador to ASEAN. He's currently double-hatted as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, and he's resident in Washington. But I would say this, the existence of that charter suggests to me that change is possible, and we could be convinced as Americans to have an ambassador who would actually have that job, the ambassador to ASEAN, and be resident in Jakarta one day. And I hope the charter is significant enough to give us something to push for in that sense. So let me wind up my opening remarks with a statement that I hope will hail back to a time in American politics, since I'm American, when we had to face a question of whether a charter would be important for the United States. And it's from Thomas Jefferson. And Jefferson was a vision guy. He was a confidence guy. And he said about the importance of laying down a vision, "I'm not an advocate for frequent changes in laws and constitutions, but laws and institutions Laws and institutions must go hand in hand with the progress of the human mind. And as that becomes more developed, more enlightened, as new discoveries are made, new truths discovered, and manners and opinions change, with the change of circumstances, institutions must advance also to keep pace with time. We might as well require a man to wear the coat which fitted him when he was a boy as ask a civilized society to remain ever under the regime of their ancestors. Thank you very much.